I'm, of course, the most open-minded investor slash NFT artist on YouTube with a diverse appetite for risky asset classes ranging between shopping centers and shitcoins, but not government bonds, creating contact-less, family-friendly, cookie-accepting, cat-free, technical and specialized tutorials and guidelines to harness the generational wealth transfer found in crypto trends. And last, as a believer of Jesus Christ and a fan of Gary and an extremely well-educated and multilingual Korean opera with hair naturally curlier than the average Asian male and highly coveted by many moms or daughters, also known as Humble Kim. Today, we're going to be looking at some charts. We're going to look at Bitcoin and we're going to take a brief look at Floki as well. And we're going to look at how the market is behaving, what to expect in the near term, in the medium term, and in the long term. So make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video. And of course, today we start our video with this beautiful image, King of the Vikings, Floki. The Floki official account. Floki official account has posted this, and I'm just going to fix this. Okay, here we go. Bang, there we go. I've just fixed it. Because I am, of course, the true king of the Vikings. I'm just going to claim that title. Self-claimed. It is what it is. So moving forward, let's have a look at Bitcoin. That is the topic for today. Before we look at the Bitcoin chart though, we're gonna be looking at the dominance chart, okay? This is the USDT dominance. Means if there's a lot of USDT in the market, like that means people are pulling money out of positions. So when the price here rises, we're gonna see Bitcoin prices generally fall. Well, if the levels here decrease, we're gonna generally see price action and then go up on Bitcoin. So let's actually have a look at Bitcoin dominance right now. We're on the 12-hourly chart, and here are some scribbles I made before. I think at that point in time in the video, I made a projection that we're gonna go ahead, and it looks like I was correct. So that's pretty cool, but I'm gonna get rid of this now. And what we are seeing here right now is that we've got the 100 and the 200 moving averages right now, and the levels are testing that line right there. That is one conjecture. Another conjecture is that it has tested the bottom here, like so, and it has bounced off of it. And I think it is potentially going to test some of these higher zones right here, potentially here at the end of the week, and potentially as far as that third line that I have drawn there as well. So I think being where it is right now, we can really go up or down. And I know you hate it when people say that, but you got to be careful with this one. And it may just be that they just like take a quick stab into the highs and then drop down. Of course, in this case, the levels then poke upwards, then we're gonna see a dip in Bitcoin, and I'll tell you what I think would happen if it does dip to that level. And of course, with this one, it's obviously helpful to identify some of the patterns in here. So we've got a pattern here. That pattern there, of course, is the ascending triangle, or what could potentially be a bullish pennant forming as well. And of course, we have seen the levels rise above that. Now, this is the interesting part. Now, how would you view this? This one here, could it just be a bull flag, or could it be something that is actually broadening? Because if it is broadening, what we may end up having is this particular thing here, bearish expanding triangle. But it's interesting because it points downwards. And arguably with this one, we may be forming a bullish flag, at which point that is a continuation formation. So when that continuation occurs to the same length of the previous, I guess, the flag pole, if you like. So if that happens, we may be actually on our way to this new resistance zones right there, which means does seem like some level of confirmation of these trend lines here, the moving average lines there as well. And of course, if that were to happen, I think the implication on Bitcoin would be that, well, I did make this conjecture. Now we're on the 12-hour time frame at the moment, and it looks like this conjecture that we're seeing right now is sort of matching up. There is very small volume on that green candle right there. Now on that small volume there, I think this multiple testing here, look, we may bounce on out of here like this, but I think there is a higher likelihood of it cracking below that line and testing this lower trend line here, which was formed by these wicks in the previous times. Now we are in the oversold time in the RSI, and I know everybody knows that I love RSI, but we're in a 12-hour time frame. And just looking back on the Bitcoin chart, the 12-hour time frame RSI has been good, but not the best. So this poked below the 30, and then it poked twice again below the 30. And as you can see, the second time around, we actually had a lower price as well. So it poked the first time around, touching that same line. And I wonder if the same peak will repeat based on the fractal nature of what we've seen before as well, that it may quickly test those levels there and then bounce back up. Well, at least that is the hope. Of course, if this zone was to be broken, then obviously the next level will be this low into the 33s. And then after that, if that breaks, then, you know, we're looking pretty
pretty bad moving forward as well. So, and it also depends on how quickly we get there. But my general thought is that it will probably bounce off this region here, $37,000 to $38,000 mark on Bitcoin, of course. So that being said, if we look at the daily chart, however, you will find that the RSI has a little bit more room to go. So back in 2022, January 23 is when the RSI actually dipped well below the oversold region, and that was a good time to get in. Not even the little sort of stab down below was enough to actually push the RSI into the oversold region in February. Not even the wick stab that we had in February was enough to push the RSI into the oversold regions as well. So I think that being said, could this be the bottom? Maybe, but I would be a little bit more aggressive to hope for the price to actually dip into this region even quickly so as well. So maybe potentially putting buyer orders in there. If the price action was to crack below that as well, I think what Floki will do in the interim is that if you check on the 4-hour chart, obviously my conjecture about this pattern is still holding up. It created a little triangle pattern, and I think it'll go to the lower regions like so at the same distance of the flagpole here as well. So I think when that does in fact happen, I think these two price actions will be very interesting to watch as well as we see the RSI dip into the lower zones. You may ask a question, hey, how come it is that you look at the lower time frames with coins like Floki Inu, but you look at higher time frames with coins like Bitcoin when it comes to trading on RSI? Well, I kind of answered the question in the question itself, because the coin size is different. So there's more volatility with Floki, and Bitcoin has far less of that, of course. I think it'll predominantly depend on the USDT dominance at the moment. So if the USDT dominance rises in this continuation pattern, then I think we would be looking at more money in the market, which means that people are pulling money out of Bitcoin, which means, they're trying to, sell their positions out. So I think that being the case, Bitcoin, I think, may see a slightly lower low. Of course, I could be wrong with this one. And what would be really, really exciting to see is if the Bitcoin was to dip into these zones, we would actually be crossing over the 618 zone of the Fibonacci Retracement. And I think these will be a far better point of entry. Of course, we want to grab it at the Pico bottom, but if we can't do it, I think this would be not a bad entry to actually get in. If we were going to have a bounce off of this, you need to understand that all the bounces that we've seen out of these support zones have been pretty violent, right? So, okay, well, that's sabbed below, but look at all these touches, right? It actually bounces up pretty quickly. Like it bounces up pretty quickly. This one didn't go as high as we wanted to, but it actually stabbed below and then it started to bounce up. So this kind of scenario is looking kind of similar here. So I think it may well just do something like that as well, similarly. Don't worry, I think that similar to this sort of fractal here may actually drop below again, and then it may go test the new highs, may stall around about the same level as the previous high that we've hit. This sort of pattern here, right? This sort of pattern here may continue into the future. That will meet that level and may be able to pull down, or if the momentum is strong enough, may be able to blast past that to actually test that upper resistance there as well. So I think that's how it will potentially play out. Of course, going back to what I was saying before, every time it bounces off a region, there has been a pretty strong sort of bounce off afterwards within just a few candlesticks, just like we've seen here, at least to the middle of this general trend line. But we aren't really seeing that with this particular bounce here. So I think the momentum to actually come back up is actually quite weak. So having said that, I think it will continue to sort of test lower lows until this bottom here. That could potentially be the price action to which the daily RSI would actually be dipping into the oversold regions, at which point you can definitely have a lot more confidence in DCAing into. And at that time, it'll be interesting to see where prices are for coins such as Dogecoin, Shiba, and of course our favorite Floki Inu. There you have it, guys. All of these theories are very applicable in many other altcoins and also the majors as well. So make sure you go learn and take action so that you can actually become better at trading. The best platform to do that in is Bybit. So if you haven't done so, make sure you go check out the link below so that you can fast track your sign up process. And I hope you make lots and lots of money along the way, of course. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I appreciate you being here. And if you haven't done so, make sure you go like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you can stay updated with the latest, the fanciest, and the most profitable in cryptocurrency. I will see you in the next video. Peace.